From what I understand, when Food Network originally called you to come to New York to compete in the Food Network's Next Star show, whatever it was called, you originally weren't even going to go.
Well, I didn't believe it was them.
Oh, really?
10 o'clock at night, they called me. And I said, right. Hello, Food Network, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I did. I thought it was one of my friends screwing with me. Because I didn't want to do the demo tape. I had this buddy, Rob, and another buddy of mine, Mustard, that pushed me. They really said, you got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. I said, I'm doing this. I didn't even watch, I'd never seen a single show on the Food Network. And not because Food Network wasn't awesome back then. I just work it every day of my life. I don't want to go home and have somebody telling me how to boil an egg. So when I submitted the tape, they called. And the lady goes, hey, what can I call at a better time? And I'm like, is this serious? She goes, yeah. She goes, there'll be a contract on your door tomorrow morning. We FedExed it. So they get it, and I read it, and I'm like, this is horrible. They want my life. So I sent it to an attorney buddy of mine. He looked at it, and he goes, yeah, you're signing your life away on this one. But it was my dad's birthday, November 19th. Flew to New York. Never been to New York. Flew to New York in shorts, flip-flops, and a yellow leather jacket.
Lori encouraged you.
Oh, Lori, we were 8 months pregnant with Ryder.
You had to have a second phone.
And, I had a burner phone. Not that I knew what a burner phone was, but they told us you're going to have to turn your phone every day. Oh, you got it. Mm-hmm. No problem. I go, we got one of those old cell phones we got, babe? She goes, yeah. BlackBerry Touch or whatever. I'm like, okay, here we go. Come on, turn your phone in. Here you go. I powered off, charged it. It wasn't even working. Kept my phone in my pocket.
Tell about Gotta Get It and why you turned down a greenlit show.
So I'm on Food Network. I have a show. It's probably saw it. It's called Guy's Big Bite. It aired at 3 a.m. on Sundays. That's what I won when I was on Food Network Star, which is kind of like the American Idol of food television. And so I win that show. I get my little cooking show, and it literally was little. I mean, my set was about this big, and had a great mentor, a guy named Mark Disson, who's still a great friend of mine, and probably one of the reasons I did good and somewhat good in TV is because this guy was awesome. I mean, still to this day, one of my heroes. I had a lot of great mentors. You gotta be willing to listen and willing to learn. You gotta be willing to put your ego in your back pocket. You gotta be willing to, that sucked, do it again. And you also gotta be a good critic of yourself. You gotta watch yourself. I tell people all the time, watch yourself on TV.
And you did that a lot.
Oh gosh, painstakingly, wanted to die. Just didn't want to watch anymore. I mean, like, oh God, that sucked. Don't make me watch that again. But you learn, if you don't want to say soap teeth, you go learn pretty damn quick how to not say soap teeth anymore. So I had the show, Guy's Big Bite, and it was doing pretty good. And they said, hey, we have a pilot for a show we want you to do. And I said, okay, what's the pilot? They said, well, come over and meet this group, and they're going to take you to be in New York, and you're going to go do this thing, and you're going to talk about kitchen equipment. Okay, sounds great. So the first thing we do is go to this appliance store, and they have an oven that talks to your phone through Bluetooth. That's cool. I talk about how that would work. You're like, oh, the turkey's ready, bing. And then we go to this house, and we're in this backyard, and they have a 2-stroke motor blender. Makes margaritas, and it looks like, I'm revving the engine, and I'm, making this joke of Bo and Luke Duke. I think we can jump the canyon. I'm making all these noises. Well, it goes downhill from there. Because then we get into all this other goofy and I'm not a gadgety chef. I don't have 8 gadgets to do one job. I have a knife and a cutting board and a pair of tongs, and that's about all I need, And so the last thing I do is I have a ball filled with cream and sugar and ice, and you put the ball together, and then you kick it around in the yard, and it makes ice cream. So I'm by the Flatiron Building. I don't even know the name of that park. And I'm kicking this ball around in the park with some kids. Not that I don't love kids. Not that I don't love kicking a ball. I don't like being filmed kicking around going, isn't this fun? So anyhow, that's it. I go 2 days of that, and I'm done. About a month later, they call and say, congratulations. The show's greenlit. We get 13 episodes. Gotta get it. I said, I'm sorry. I'm not your guy. What? This is like the second level, third level producer. I'm just not your guy. That's just not my stuff. Blah, 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 click. An hour later, someone else calls. What is this? I hear you're not going to do this. Da, 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 da. We da, 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 da. I said, I'm sorry, I'm just not your guy. I just don't feel it. What? Click. Owner of the company calls me, the production company, reads me the riot act. You'll never work in this industry. Do you understand what you're throwing away? We spent so much money on you. I said, I am really sorry. Had anybody told me what this was about, I would have been very clear with you that this was not me. After 3 or 4 more phone calls from other people, I get the president of the Food Network. Brooke Johnson calls me.
And this is before you had done anything there. This is your opportunity.
Guy's Big Bite.
Right.
And Brooke has a very commanding Brooke's still one of my dearest friends. Love Brooke to death. Gave me so many opportunities. I couldn't. And the last thing I want to do is disappoint this woman. And she says, why are you doing this? You came on the Food Network to... I said, I came on the Food Network because it was a challenge. I won. I got my show. I didn't really figure this was going to go much further. You know, I got a bunch of restaurants to go run. She goes, well, you're getting a chance to do a primetime show. I said, I'm sorry. I said, authenticity is everything. And I said, this is not me. I can't look at people and tell them that they need an avocado slicer. You need a butter knife, okay? Squeeze the avocado, pit falls out, butter knife, zip, 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 boom, done, here you are. You don't need to go buy this thing for $8.99. She goes, you really feel this way? I said, I'm wholeheartedly feel this way. She said, okay, you may never get another shot. I said, I apologize, I'll just take that. 6 months later, they called. We have one more shot for you. I said, what is it? They said, you're kind of like a food critic. I said, nope, not for me. They go, what? I go, no, not for me, I'm not a food critic. I'm a chef, I'm not a food critic. Okay, no. Okay, let me rephrase it. Not a food critic. You go around to mom and pop restaurants and just see what they make and talk about it. I said, I like that idea. What's it called? Divers, Drive-Ins, and Dive-Ins. I go, what's the name of it? Drivers, they couldn't even say it right. Because, it's a little tongue twister at first, which is one of the reasons I used to often call it Triple D. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, it turns out that show was a perfect fit. I loved it. And, 1,700 locations, 500 shows later, 17 years.
The Triple D effect on businesses is what?
Well, different things for different people, but for the most part, it is kind of the restaurant lottery. And I try to make everybody fully aware of this. This has nothing to do with me, okay? All I am is...
bullshit, though.
No bullshit.
You don't give yourself enough credit.
Hang on a second. You probably are changing my career. I know how many millions of viewers you get. These restaurants exist. These restaurants are doing great. These restaurants are they're popular in their town or in their community or their group or whatever it is. All I'm doing is shining the light on them. It's like they already exist. I'm not walking in saying, hey, do this, 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 and this. You're going to be great. I just walk in and go, here you go, America. Take a look at this family.
Well, sure, right. But it's your talent that has led
I don't know if talent's necessarly the word that we want to use.
50 times a
let's
day,
just say that the camera's rolling and I'm the porthole. I'm the ombudsman. But the stories that I've heard, and we do a show now called Triple D Nation, where we go back to places like 6, 10, 15 years later. Oh, flat out make you cry. I mean, just flat out make you cry. The stories. So one happened the other day, a place called Tom's Barbecue in Memphis. And I remember it it was yesterday, because they took the ends of the ribs when they cut a St. Louis rib and they true it up. They take a spare rib to make it a St. Louis. They take off this end and there's these little riblets. And these guys would cut them, barbecue them, and cut them up and sell them. And there's little riblets and you eat them and they're delicious. And we hadn't shot the place. We shot the place 10 years ago. So we went back and did Triple D Nation. And I was in Memphis and I couldn't go to the restaurant, but he came to a restaurant that I was shooting. We shot a little excerpt with him. And then my film crew went to the restaurant later and shot a thing about him, and then we were going to re-air it. Well, then I had an event in South Beach at the Food and Wine Festival, and I invited him. And I come off stage, and he's standing there with his wife, and something's wrong. And I just had seen him. And I'm like, is everything okay? And he goes, yeah, we just wanted, I didn't get a chance to tell you when you interviewed me a couple weeks ago about what happened. He says, pardon me if I get my numbers wrong, but you helped put 4 of our kids through college, 2 of them through medical school. I'm like, wow. And he goes, we couldn't have, he changed our whole life. Like everything has changed. And I'm like, wow, that's really, and he goes, here. And he hands me this box. And I open it up. And it's this full blinged out gold chain. I mean, like bling. I'm like, I can't accept this. And they're like, no, no, no. And they're backing away, like, just like they have to. And I'm just standing there in awe. They're crying. I'm a mess. And I don't do it for that. That's not any reason at all that I do it. I do it because I'm a chef and I'm a restaurant owner, and I know how hard it is to make money in this business. And back when I first started my restaurants, the only way you could get advertisement was the Yellow Pages, a radio TV commercial, or maybe a good write-up in the paper. Social media came along, and that's really been positive and negative, because you can live by the sword, die by the sword. But the fact of what we do, because I'm all positive energy. That's how I am in my life anyways. I'm not into the negative. I mean, there's so much negative we could highlight, and that's what people feed off of. Unfortunately, a lot of folks do. I'm just not into it. I don't subscribe to it. People are like, why don't you tell us the places you don't like? I said, yeah. Hey, come on down to this place. It sucks. No, that's just not in my DNA. But we go to places, 4, 5, 10 franchise now locations. We go to places that, I mean, it's amazing what happens. And they took an opportunity, they took a spark, and they made a fire. And to be the guy that got a chance to maybe be some of the spark, that's the greatest. And that just solely me as a chef and a restaurant owner, and as a person, as a human, as a dad, as an entrepreneur, to be the guy that got to participate in that, to be around that, and then to hear the story later. So the gold chain was the nicest thing in the world, but you know what? Just hearing that 4 kids got a chance to go to college and 2 became doctors, that's the kind of stuff that I get more. I've said this before, Graham, a bunch of times. Had I not had the response or got the insight to what this show was doing, I would have stopped a long time ago.
You would have.
Oh, you don't have any idea of the grind, the amount of the days, the months, the years. 17 years of being on the road. And I'm not bitching. Don't get me wrong. I mean, work is work. But being away from my family was tough. That was one of the toughest pieces of all of it. But knowing what it did, it was my opportunity to step up and do something. And I had the opportunity to do it. You got to take the shot. The only one you miss is the one you don't take. As long as there's one restaurant, there's one guest, there's one experience that happened that was a better place, then I think I did a good job,